Hello guys, welcome back to a stunning day on Mull. During this you may just be able to hear a couple of red deer stags. I've got two just either side of the valley here, shouting at each other and telling each other I'm the biggest, I'm the loudest, and don't mess with me. And basically those guys have to do that for the best part of a month. They barely eat. At the end of it they're shattered, and they have to do that because there's many other stags around, and the main men, well, they can't get complacent. And that's what today is about in terms of our message from Mull. It's trying to avoid the complacency trap. So a lot of us develop new habits, new lifestyle habits at some point, and it's rather easy to fall into the trap. Another guy thinking I'm weird, talking to my phone. Falling into a complacency trap. So after a little while, these habits become automatic. And every now and again, we just need to sort of take stock of where we are. Because sometimes when they become automatic, we've been doing them for a long time, we've developed them in the way that we want to, they can just start to fall by the wayside. And often when we've been coming to, say, the gym 3 times a week, and we think, well, maybe I could just drop down to 2 and I'll get the same outcomes. Or you reduce your body fat by walking a certain distance most days, and then you start to think, maybe I'll just reduce the distance a little bit, make it a little bit easier for myself, especially at this time of year when the weather tends to get a bit worse, and maybe introduce a few more treats and you hope to get the same outcomes. Or maybe you've improved your mental health, and then you start to think, well, maybe I could stay up a little bit later, reduce a little bit of my sleep, it probably won't make that much difference, and maybe take a little bit more alcohol. And really, it's really important that we don't fall into that little trap where we think, if I can reduce my activity rate, or if I can take in a little bit more in terms of calorific food, treat type food, or if I reduce my sleep, that everything will be tickety-boo. Because often we've developed a habit by introducing new changes to our lifestyle, and the only way to maintain that and keep things going forward is to keep building on that and not let things drift and not get complacent. Now, one of the best examples of sort of reviewing how things are going on, you may have seen in the Olympics this year, there was a high jumper, an Australian high jumper called Nicola McDermott, and after every jump that she makes, she sits down and she makes a little note and scores herself out of 10 for lots of different components within the jump, how she approached, how she took off, example. And that actually led to her achieving a silver medal in the Tokyo Olympics and a personal best jump. Now, I'm not suggesting that after every piece of gym kit that you sit down and review how it went, but maybe every 3 months, something like that, it might be worth sitting down and having a little think, just over a cup of tea. Doesn't have to be, a long project. Just a quick little review. It might be worth making some notes. And the sort of things I would ask you to think about is what's worked well. So what has gone well in the last 3 months, and what are you able to maintain? Maybe what's not gone so well, or perhaps what has started to drift and perhaps needs a little bit of refocus and reattention. And what have you learnt in that time? And really, it's when we don't pay attention to things that we sometimes suffer this gradual slide away from the good habits that we had achieved. And we hope that by doing a little bit less, or eating a little bit more, or sleeping a little bit less, or smoking a little bit more, or drinking a little bit more, that things will stay the same. And when we really sort of sit down and review the situation, we'll probably start to realize that they won't stay the same. It's about constantly trying to maintain our focus and keep moving forward. And the other thing is, don't overanalyze it. So it's a bit like looking in a mirror. If you get too close, you'll see every imperfection. God help you, if I got too close to the camera, you'd see lots of imperfections and a few more wrinkles than there used to be. Because sometimes by zoning in too close, you'll just get overwhelmed, and the feedback means that you lose sight of the bigger picture. So really what we want to do is look at ourselves from a conversational distance, a bit like I am, and then you start to see the obvious issues, and you start to see the bigger picture, and you can start to change the preventables, and probably look back and assess what did you do in the first place that brought you to the place where you are, that developed that good habit, that gave you the outcomes that you were after, and what changes have you made, or what slips have happened that may be starting to make that more difficult to maintain long term. Because remember, it's all about the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is trying to change the sort of person you are, the identity that you had targeted in the very first place. So let's try and keep focus of that. I'm going to leave the deer and head back home, and I'll catch up with you next week. And take it easy, guys. Bye bye.